Yeah, before getting into that one, I hope you know something in electrodynamics, because here I want to take much example from electrodynamics in this conservation law, and they may design question on that one. That's why. So how to write a Lagrangian for a charged particle which is moving in electromagnetic field, electric field as well as magnetic. Okay, I have electric field as well as magnetic field. Usually you will. So you are going to define potential, okay, vector potential and scalar potential. So what is the, you are going to get electric field as minus del V minus dou A by dou T in case of dynamical case, okay, usually. Am I right? Yeah. So B is equal to actually curl of this A, curl of A, we call this one as scalar potential V. This is gradient, okay, V as scalar potential. So this A, it is called as vector potential, okay. For a time sake, just take it as it is. After, while revising, by the time we will have all of this in our bag. Bag means, yeah. So now, I want to write the Lagrangian for this system, okay. So usually, the potential becomes velocity dependent, isn't it? You know that Lorentz force depends on velocity, isn't it? So that's why we are going to write our potential U. So this is our special class of potential that I defined earlier. I had given note in between. Do you remember? That's equal to, you can write, so Q into V, am I right? That's the potential energy. So minus Q into V dot A, minus, are you sure? Am I right? Minus Q dot A. So this is your velocity dependent potential. This again, actually V is a scalar potential. It's a function of position alone. Okay, it's a function of position alone. So again, this whole thing that depends on both position as well as velocity. Velocity dependent potential. Okay, and you can write your Lagrangian as half m V square. V means, so 3 dimension. Okay. So minus Q into V, usually he write pi. Wait a second. He write that one as pi. Shall I take pi? Or let it be? Let it be. Okay, V, capital V. So scalar potential. It's a function of R alone actually. Function of position of the charge actually. So plus Q into V dot A. So this is a minus of V, U part actually. L, you can write L is equal to T minus U. I told this one, isn't it? You can write Lagrangian like this, and you can write Lagrange's differential equation, even though it is velocity dependent, because that is a special class, isn't it? That's a special class of the potential. Okay, this is the Lagrangian for charged particle in electromagnetic field. Okay. Electromagnetic field. Charged particle in the electromagnetic field. Okay, usually we go for Cartesian coordinate. Okay, half m, we write like that, x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square. Z dot square. Usually minus Q into V is a function of x, y, z. Am I right? Our scalar potential is usually function of coordinate. Okay. And so plus Q into, we write this one as, so Vx, Ax, Vy, Ay, Vz, Az. Okay. Vx I can write as x dot Ax plus y dot Ay plus z dot Az. Okay. Because you have to form a differential equation. Am I right? You have to form differential equation. Suppose d by dt of dou L by dou x dot, like that. Am I right? Minus dou L by dou x equal to 0. Now, one thing you should remember, this Ax, Ay, Az are x, y and z component of vector potential. each of them individually may depend on all three coordinates. Okay, so a vector can write as ax into x cap plus ay into y cap plus az into z cap. What are these? This doesn't mean a is a function of x. This is a component of x. Okay, this may depend on all three coordinates x, y, z. Isn't it? At different position, so this x component may be different, isn't it? X component of that vector may be different at different position. This is a function of all three coordinates x, y, z. So this is also a function of all three coordinates x, y, z. This is also a function of all three coordinates. Generally, okay, generally. So that's why you can't have so quickly that equation actually. Okay. Again, if you just form this equation, so again you should get a kind of force equal to your Lorentz equation. So Lorentz force equation. That if you form this one, as I told again, this will contain Newton's second law. Format, isn't it? So that you will get Lorentz equation again if you do that one. Okay. So let it be. We shall stop it here. We shall do this problem later. But you should remember this is Lagrangian for charged particle in electromagnetic field. Okay. And later we shall try to find what is the Hamiltonian for that one. Okay. What is the Hamiltonian for that one? Is that okay? Can you just remember for a time's sake? We shall derive this one, how this potential comes actually. Now, these conservation laws are very important here. Actually, we have seen this one actually. Earlier in the very early case. Suppose let me take Lagrangian is equal to half m x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square in Cartesian coordinate. Okay, let me take it in Cartesian coordinate. And how do I? Wait a second, let me start it from here. So d by dt of dou t by dou qj dot minus dou t by dou qj is equal to qj. Is that okay? Now let me take Cartesian coordinates. Suppose t is equal to half m x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square. Am I right? Let me take Cartesian coordinate like this. So now look at here. If usually in Cartesian coordinate, your kinetic energy will never depend on coordinate. It will depend only on velocity. Have you observed that one? But in plane polar, spherical polar, cylindrical, it depends on both coordinate as well as velocity. In Cartesian coordinate, it depends only on the velocity. Observe it. Okay. So then this equation would be d by dt of, suppose for x coordinate. So dou t by dou x dot minus dou t by dou x is equal to qx. Am I right? Qx. I can just write d by dt of what is this one? Mx dot. So this is usually 0. that's equal to qx, and we call this one as f dot x cap. Am I right? I mean, this is a force along x-axis, and I think we proved this one. Am I right? How did you define qx? I think a force dot dou r by dou x, I think. That's actually x cap, isn't it? Yeah. We just proved this one. So now we are going to call this one as, look at here, dou t by dou x dot, that's equal to mx dot. That was x component of momentum. Am I right? That was x component of momentum. Now let me little generalize this one. Okay, let me generalize this one. So now let me take this equation, d by dt of dou L by dou Qj dot minus dou L by dou Qj is equal to 0. Okay, let me take that situation. Again, L is equal to T minus V. L is equal to T minus V. So usually, look at here, in that L, if suppose, if Qj is a Cartesian, so then I can write that dou L by dou Qj as again dou T minus V by dou Qj, dou T by dou Qj minus dou V by dou Qj. Can I write like this? Is that okay? Yeah. So now this part is 0 when Q is Cartesian. You have seen that one. Kinetic energy depends only on the velocity. It will not depend on position. Is that okay? So now when I substitute this one back here, d by dt of actually dou L by dou Qj dot, so minus plus dou V by dou Qj equal to 0, or I can take it here and I can write that one as so minus dou V by dou Qj. Again, it's actually our generalized force, isn't it? Now, this is a kind of Newton's second law. Derivative of something is equal to force, isn't it? Derivative of something, that's equal to force actually. Now, actually, this quantity, we are going to, again, this, I have taken Cartesian coordinate. Now, we are going to generalize that one, isn't it? This will play the role of momentum. Am I right? This will play the role of momentum. That's why what we are going to define it here is, so dou L by dou Qj, dou L by dou Qj, we are going to define it as is equal to Pj, momentum. Okay, Qj dot dou L by dou Qj dot, this one, this quantity, we are going to define it as momentum. But we call that one as conjugate momentum. Momentum conjugate to coordinate Qj. Okay. Yeah, let me define it again. So that what this becomes? This becomes d by dt of Pj is equal to Qj. A kind of Newton's second law. Again, we can generalize this one. Are you getting my point? In case of translational thing, this will be linear momentum. Derivative of linear momentum is equal to force. In case of rotational thing, this will be angular momentum. Derivative of angular momentum will be torque. Is that okay? That's why it is the most general. Is that okay? That's why it is the most. I have started with Cartesian coordinate and I am trying to make it general. Is that okay? Now look at here. We are going to define, so Pj, wait a second, let me take his first. The generalized momentum. Look at here, word, generalized momentum. It need not be linear momentum, it can be angular momentum also. The generalized momentum conjugate to the generalized momentum associated with the coordinate j Qj or conjugate to Qj. Or conjugate to Qj. How do I write? we are going to write that one as Pj is equal to dou L by dou Qj dot. Yeah, this is a kind of hint how I can write that one, okay? This is a kind of hint how I can call that one as momentum. Is that okay? And I can have that equation. So Pj dot, actually Pj dot, or d by dt of Pj dot, d by dt of Pj dot, that's actually equal to Qj. Am I right? But you should have asked one question. Yeah, Pj. No, not that question. Not that question. That's an error. Yeah, let me wait. Let me wait. Because I got that question. Yeah. So now we shall see different aspect of this one. Okay, again. So this is the definition of generalized momentum. Okay, this is the definition of generalized momentum. Now we shall see one aspect of this one. Okay, so let me take one example. Again, as earlier, I have written my Lagrangian for charge particle in electromagnetic field, half m x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square minus q into v x y z plus q into x dot ax plus y dot ay plus z dot az. Am I right? Z dot az. This is for Lagrangian for charge particle in electromagnetic field. Now look at here. What is the momentum conjugate to x? Dou L by dou x dot. Dou L by dou x dot. Remember, this is not linear momentum. You can see it here. Look at here. If you take that one, that will be mx dot from this part, partial derivative. Okay, you can treat everything as constant, plus q into ax. That need not be linear momentum. I got additional term. I got additional term. Now this is called as generalized momentum. This is linear momentum actually. This is called as generalized momentum or momentum conjugate to coordinate x. Is that okay? So generalized momentum in case of charge particle in electromagnetic field, that's equal to linear momentum plus some additional term, because it is defined like this. Yeah, the question. Mx dot plus q into x plus q into x. Now let me take one more example. Suppose L is equal to half m r dot square plus r square theta dot square. So plane polar coordinate minus v as a function of r. Okay. Usually we get this kind of potential in central force problem next chapter. Okay. So let me take one more example. What is the momentum conjugate to r? Dou L by dou r dot, that's equal to m into r dot. Let me take velocity independent potential. Okay, this was velocity dependent potential. Little different story. Now, what is momentum conjugate to theta? Yeah, here similarly you can show py is equal to my dot plus q into ay, like that, isn't it? Not much difference. Now look at here. Here let me take one of the angular coordinate. What is p theta? Dou L by dou theta dot, that's equal to m r square theta dot. What is this one? That's the angular momentum. M r square theta dot, that's angular momentum. Okay. Momentum conjugate to angular coordinate is usually angular momentum. momentum conjugate to, what should I say, this r coordinate, translational coordinate. Shall I say like that? I'm going to divide my coordinates, type of coordinate, into two parts. One is translational. R is translational, lengthwise, isn't it? X, Y, Z, they are translational type. But theta and phi are rotational. Is that okay? Usually we work with those two. Is that okay? Let me divide my coordinate into two parts, two types. One is translational coordinate, other one is rotational coordinate. Momentum correspond to, momentum conjugate to translation coordinate is usually like this. Is that okay? Usually linear momentum, but in this case it's a special case, linear momentum plus an additional term, okay? But momentum conjugate to angular, what you call, coordinate, usually that is angular momentum, okay? Yeah. Now look at this equation. Now let me again take Lagrange's differential equation. D by dt of dou L by dou Qj dot minus dou L by dou Qj is equal to 0. Am I right? So suppose if I take the situation where L does not contain Qj. Let me come to one example, okay, later. If suppose L does not contain Qj, usually if you write in Cartesian coordinate, only potential energy part contains coordinate, kinetic energy part will not contain coordinate, okay. So if L does not contain Qj, that coordinate, we call that one as Qj is absent in L. If, okay, we call Qj is absent in L, or Qj is cyclic in L. Same words, okay. Then what would happen? Dou L by dou Qj equal to 0. If Qj is absent. If this is equal to 0, what is this one? D by dt of dou L by dou Qj dot, that's equal to 0. If this is equal to 0, d by dt of Pj is equal to 0. That means Pj equal to constant. This is the most general conservation law. Is that okay? Most general conservation law. This is the most general conservation law. Can you write one sentence? The generalized momentum conjugate to cyclic coordinate is conserved. Conjugate to cyclic coordinate is conserved. Cyclic coordinate means that coordinate should not appear in Lagrangian, okay? That is the meaning of cyclic coordinate. It should be absent in Lagrangian. That's why I just written this, the same words, okay? These are equivalent words. Generalized momentum conjugate to cyclic coordinate, that is conserved. Now let me take one best example. Suppose I have Lagrangian for a particle in spherical polar coordinate with what you call conservative potential, okay? Half m r dot square plus r square theta dot square plus r square sin square theta phi dot square minus some v of r theta phi. It depends only on coordinates, not on velocity. Let me take, in case of conservative field, this will happen actually. Potential depends only on the position, okay? So now look at here. So you in this case you have 3 coordinates, am I right? So first find out what are the coordinates involved in the problem. What are the generalized coordinates involved in the problem? What are the coordinates involved? R, theta and phi. How do you know R, theta and phi involved? Because their derivatives came here, am I right? If their derivative exists means those coordinates are variables, isn't it? So now which is cyclic here? Which coordinate is absent? Wait a second, I have to, again, phi may come here, isn't it? I have to take the situation like this. Suppose V is a function only of R, spherically symmetric potential. Let me take situation like this. Is that okay? So now, in that case, look at here. Yeah, I have R, theta, phi. R, theta, phi. All these 3 coordinates are generalized coordinates. How do I get that one? I got R dot here, theta dot here, phi dot here. Okay? So now, so in that one, yeah, theta appeared here. R appeared here in the Lagrangian, but phi is absent. Theta appeared here. In sin theta means, I mean, you have derivative with respect to theta. Okay? So R appeared here, but phi is missing. I can say phi is cyclic in L. Phi is cyclic in. This is not any different one, okay? This is just the outcome of, again, this differential equation. So phi is cyclic in L. Then what is P phi? How to define? Dou L by dou phi dot is equal to constant. Am I right? Is equal to constant. What is this one? Dou L by dou phi dot m r square sin square theta phi dot, that's equal to constant. Why this happens? Why this happens? If you take phi part of your Lagrange equation, d by dt of dou L by dou phi dot minus dou L by dou phi is equal to 0. Since L doesn't contain phi, this part equal to 0. That's why d by dt of, what is this one? P phi, momentum conjugate to phi. That's equal to 0. That's why P phi equal to constant. But we have stated that one. That's just the outcome of this one only. But we have stated that one like that. I mean, momentum conjugate to cyclic coordinate is conserved. So that you can write this step directly. Just by looking at the Lagrangian, you can write this step. Is that okay? Yeah. Theta is not cyclic here. So we can't write P phi equal to constant. Because dou L by dou theta appears. Suppose if you take plane polar coordinate, if I take usually in the next chapter we are going to take like this, okay? A half m r dot square plus r square theta dot square. In case of spherically symmetric potential, usually it will be reduced to this one. Let me argue in the next chapter, okay? Let me take plane polar coordinate. Again, theta is cyclic. So that's why if you find P theta, that's equal to dou L by dou theta dot, that is equal to m r square theta dot is equal to constant. Remember, in case of your planetary motion, angular momentum is a constant of motion. Isn't it? That's a planar motion. Let me argue that one, how it is restricted to a plane. Let me argue that one later. But for a time sake, just take it like this. So it is constant of motion. Take one more example. Where theta will not appear here. Okay, usually spherically symmetric potential. Potential depends only on the distance from the origin. Is that okay? Distance from the center of the force. We shall define that one, okay, later. Yeah, conjugate? Yeah, both are same. Conjugate momentum, canonical momentum, same. Let me tell you in the next chapter why the word canonical came, okay? Canonical momentum, conjugate momentum, both are same word, okay? But linear momentum is a very different one. Don't say that is a linear momentum or angular momentum directly. You have seen in case of electromagnetic field, It's not equal to linear momentum. Similar situation may happen. It may not be directly equal to angular momentum. Remember, maybe some additional part will come. Okay. Yeah. Speak up. No, I mean, so we shall see further. We are going to define everything with respect to this one. And again, we can define all conservation law using that canonical momentum only. All conservation law. And again, I have shown one of the conservation law. Isn't it? And let me try to generalize that one. Again, let me try to see special case of that generalized what you call theory. It's just a generalization. Okay. So we had linear momentum in Newton's second law. In case of translation motion, what we said, when force equal to 0, linear momentum is conserved. That's what you say. Am I right? So similarly, we will get the similar situation when generalized force is 0, generalized momentum is conserved. So to make it general, we are doing like that. Is that okay? So just I have written Qj is equal to Pj dot. Am I right? Now again, this is the most general equation. This is the most general Newton's second law, kind of Newton's second law. And you can say when Qj equal to 0, Pj dot equal to 0, Pj equal to constant. Okay, you can state it in a general way. There is nothing new. Okay, there is nothing new. The whole story is to generalize the Newtonian mechanics, because Newtonian mechanics takes different format in different domain. Translation, one type of equation, rotational, other type of equation. Translational force will come, rotational torque will come. Am I right? But look at here, we are writing the same symbol for everything. For special case, it will be sometimes it will be if it is translational, it will be force. If it is rotational, it will be torque. Automatically, it will happen. Okay. So again, this is the generalization of the earlier mechanics. Yeah. Any question? Now again, let me take this situation. Pj dot is equal to Qj. Am I right? Pj dot is equal to Qj. Now what is Qj actually? Yeah, let me take a case one. If suppose this Qj is a coordinate in such a way that if you take delta Qj, that will be translation. This is a translational coordinate. That's what I am taking. Is that okay? If suppose Qj is translation, Qj is translational coordinate. Okay, if suppose Qj is translational coordinate, then how do you define this Qj? So F dot dou r by dou Qj. Let me take only one particle. Okay, he will take summation actually, but I will avoid that one. Let me take only one particle. Let me make it simple, because again, I am not doing anything new. I am just again stating our conservation law in the generalized way. Okay, in the generalized way. If Qj is translational coordinate, okay, if Qj is translational coordinate, so then you can write Qj is equal to F dot dou r by dou Qj. Am I right? Have you observed one thing? Dou r by dou x, dou r by dou y, dou r by dou r. All of this was x cap, r cap. Am I right? So now actually that was a vector. That was a vector along the translation of this one. Am I right? Along the translation of this one. This was a unit vector along the translation of this one. Again, he will try to derive the term. Okay, he will try to derive the term out using some geometry. But let me just take our experience here. So from our coordinate geometry. So this was equal to r cap. I am not taking angular. I am taking this is translation. R is translation coordinate in case of spherical polar coordinate, and you can write dou r by dou rho. Rho cap again in case of cylindrical coordinate. This is also length type of coordinate, translation actually. Okay. So now that would be actually, I can write it as F dot n cap, where n cap is unit vector along the direction of translation. Is that okay? So where f, wait a second. Yeah, how can I write? Yeah, I can write this qj, that's equal to f dot n cap, where n cap is unit vector along the direction of is that okay? I'm taking our experience. So dou r by dou x, dou r by dou y, like that. Dou r by dou r, dou r by dou rho. Those were again unit vector along that particular coordinate direction. Am I right? X cap, y cap, z cap, r cap or rho cap. Again, we are working with only these things. Now look at here. If qj is a translational coordinate, what is this one? This is a force along that direction. Let me take example. If qj is equal to r in spherical polar coordinate, then what is your qj? F dot r cap. Fr, force along the r cap direction. Am I right? It's a force along r cap direction. So let me again continue. Is that okay? Again, if qj is equal to x in Cartesian, what is qj? F dot x cap, that's equal to fx. X component of the force. We have seen that one, this one earlier. Is that okay? Now look at here. Yeah, I got what is this force part, okay? I got what is this force part. Now let me see. Again, if qj is translational coordinate, let me take this case. Let me see what is pj. What is pj? So that's equal to dou L by dou qj dot. Usually we take a conservative system where I can write this one as dou T by dou qj. Let me exclude that electromagnetic field problem separately, okay? That's a special class, okay? Yeah, Pj like that. Can I write like this? Now how do you write T again? Dou by dou qj dot of, how do you write this one? Half m r dot into r dot. Can I write like this? R dot into r dot. R dot into r dot. Half m r dot square. Can I write like this? Yeah. Or let me write this one as half m r dot square. Half m, what is r dot square derivative? 2 r dot into dou r dot by dou qj dot. Now I need actually one more tool over there. Wait a second. This r dot square, can I write it as r vector dot r vector dot? Can I write like this? Dot product with itself. Is that okay? Now I can write this one as, look at here. Yeah, how to take this derivative? I think two factor will come. Am I right? You have to take u into v formula. If you take that one, you will get that one, m into r vector dot dou r vector dot by dou qj dot. If you take into uv format, again you don't need that one. Now actually we can prove this one. Actually I skipped that Lagrange's differential equation derivation, isn't it? In that derivation it will come dou r dot by dou qj dot. I can write as dou r by dou qj. It needs some step, okay? He has given in the, while deriving Lagrange's differential equation, we need this kind of thing actually. So when I substitute this one, what would happen? Pj is equal to, so I am taking this one directly, okay? This one directly. Pj equal to m into r vector dot, what is this one? Dou r vector by dou qj. This is the most general definition actually. This is also general definition. Now if I proceed, look at here. If qj is a translational, I can write pj is equal to m r dot vector. So dot product with n cap. What is n cap? This one is n cap. Dou r vector by dou qj. If you have x here, x cap, y here, y cap, z here, z cap, r here, r cap. Is that okay? Where n cap is unit vector along translation. Again, I haven't done anything new. I have showed, so momentum conjugate to this q. If suppose that q is a translation coordinate, this is nothing but component of your, in case of velocity independent potential, in case of conservative field, that momentum will be equal to, linear momentum in that component. I haven't showed anything new. It's very general thing. Just like if you take px, what would you write? M r vector dot x cap, that's it. Obviously. In case of conservative field, okay? In case of conservative field, this is equal to linear momentum. Our electromagnetic field was not conservative, so that's why we got generalized momentum is equal to linear momentum plus additional term. That's the different case. But I can write px equal to m r dot x cap, isn't it? What is this one? Mx dot again, isn't it? Mx dot again. It's again obvious fact. Obvious fact. But why I am doing this thing? Because there are a couple of questions which is very difficult to understand. You should know how this generalized thing is related to our special case. Then you can understand those questions. Yeah. Suppose if qj is a rotational coordinate. The time. Suppose if qj rotational. Now if it is a rotational coordinate, I should choose some axis, am I right? To rotate with respect to. So now we shall try to derive this one. Again, we can take our earlier thing and we can do that one, but I need this one, okay? Now let me take, this is n cap. This is n cap. And your qj is rotation like this. Suppose this is r plus, let me take, it is a rotation like this, okay? You are just moving like this. And let me take, this is one position vector, r, which depends on qj. This is position vector, qj plus dqj. Where this dqj is defined here. This angle, just like r of a function of theta, function of pi plus d phi, like that, okay? If you take this one as pi, usually if you choose this one as z axis, this becomes pi axis, am I right? This becomes pi variable. If you choose this one as z axis, then I can write this one as r of pi plus d phi. Small change in phi. Position vector at this value of this qj, okay? So here I am defining qj. That's a rotational coordinate. and position vector at qj plus small dqj, small change in that one. Okay, so can I just write like this? And let me define this one as theta here. Let me define this one as theta. Now I can write dr, this one as dr. Can I write like this? Dr vector, change in your position vector. But you are moving along a circular path. Okay, you are trying to rotate this one. Okay, that dr magnitude I can write this one as how do you write this one? So this one is equal to dqj into this length. S equal to r theta formula. dqj, okay. But what is this one? Any idea? Theta here, 90 degree here. Am I right? That's equal to r sin theta. Am I right? This length is equal to r sin theta. R sin theta. That's equal to r sin theta into qj. Let me tell you, whatever we are doing, that is, if you take this one as pi, you can directly get that one. In coordinate geometry, we have done this one already. But let me make it like this, because you need to imagine you are rotating about some axis. That's very necessary. Okay. Now look at here. Now I can write dou r by dou qj mod as r sin theta. Is that okay? As r sin theta. Now look at here. What is the direction of this one? Any idea? What is the, suppose if I take just dou r by dou qj, what is the direction of this one? Any idea? Again, you can take, this is z cap. Suppose this is pi. What is the direction of? If suppose this is pi, dou r by dou pi, that's a pi cap. What is the direction of pi cap? I am asking direction of pi cap. Pi cap is along this dr vector. Am I right? Usually. Now, how do you get that one? How do you get that one? How do you get that vector actually? Any idea? This is the generalization. That's why I am not getting into our spherical polar coordinate. If I get into spherical polar coordinate, I will quickly get that one, because we have done coordinate geometry. So I can write this one as actually n cap cross r vector. N cap here, r vector here, okay? R vector here. When you take the cross product, you will get this vector actually. N cap cross r vector, you will get that one. And its magnitude is again mod n cap mod r into angle between them, that's r sin theta. And it's little difficult. You better to think in ulta way. Is that okay? So let me just define this one in case of our coordinate system. Suppose if you take z cap, if you have it like this actually, if you have it like this, okay. So now take this r vector, okay. Take this r cap direction, take this z cap direction. So take the, so this is r cap, am I right? So you are going to write theta cap here. How do you get phi cap? So now look at here, if r cap here, theta cap is also in the same plane. In the same plane, this one. So this is theta. Now r cap cross theta cap, it is out of that plane. Now take any two vector in that plane and take a cross product, then also you will get a vector out of that plane. Is that okay? Thereby, I am taking this vector, I am taking this vector and I am taking cross product, I am getting a vector out of that plane, and that is my what you call this dou r by dou qj. That is my unit vector. You can think of unit vector initially, and you know my magnitude already. But I am not making it as r cap, n cap cross r cap. I am making it as n cap cross r vector, so that magnitude also covers here. Is that okay? Magnitude also covers here. Right? So can I write like this? This one, this equation, n cap cross r cap. In your coordinate, it is nothing but writing z cap cross r cap. Okay, z cap cross r cap. That will give actually phi cap. We shall see this one later again. Let me try to come to this point. If you write z cap in terms of r cap, theta cap, phi cap, you will get actually phi cap. When you do this one, you will get actually phi cap. Z cap cross r cap. Can you just think of this one? Z cap, how z cap cross r cap becomes phi cap. Z cap cross r cap becomes phi cap. Because we can write r cap cross theta cap is equal to phi cap. That's what I have written. Am I right? Now my argument is theta cap. My argument is this theta cap. What you call? So the plane made by this r cap, z cap, and theta cap, those are same. That's what I'm saying. Plane made by r cap, theta cap, and z cap, those are same. So that's why taking these two cross product or taking these two cross product, again unit vectors, that is same. Or try to draw this diagram properly. This is r cap. So this is actually theta cap. Is that okay? This is actually theta cap. This is theta. So this is perpendicular z cap. R cap cross theta cap, that's nothing but perpendicular to this plane, whatever I am drawing. Again, in that plane you have one vector, r vector like this, other vector z cap, take the cross product, then also you will get a unit vector perpendicular to that plane. That's what I am doing here. Is that okay? Yeah. Let's see now. Now look at here. What is your Qj? Let me take only one particle. You will take summation actually. Let me take only one particle. Now what is this dou r by dou Qj? Again, I am taking rotation. This becomes f dot n cap cross r vector. N cap cross r. Wait a second. What is n cap? What is n cap? That is, n cap is the axis which is perpendicular to that rotation, so rotational plane. If you define that rotation in a plane, this n cap is perpendicular to that one. Don't forget that fact, okay? Now look at here. So this one, sum from vector algebra, this one can be converted into n cap r cross f. Again some vector algebra rule, okay? Again some vector algebra rule. Isn't it? What is this one? You'll write torque in terms of n, okay? If that is rotational coordinate, and if you define that rotation in a plane, so then this generalized force is torque along the direction perpendicular to this plane. That's needed, okay? That's needed. Yeah. No, I'm not taking theta. I'm making it as Qj. That can be theta, that can be phi, isn't it? I'm making it as general. But when you see this one, when you see this equation, you should say, when this Qj is rotational, I'm defining that Qj in a plane, am I right? So this, take this one as a plane. And so that generalized force corresponds to that rotational coordinate, that is equal to component of torque perpendicular to that plane on which you are defining that rotational coordinate. Let me give the sentence. Okay? Can you write that one? If Qj is rotational coordinate, small qj. If small qj is rotational coordinate, if small qj is rotational coordinate, then capital Qj is component of torque along the direction perpendicular to the plane on which we defined small qj. The plane perpendicular to the plane on which we defined that small qj, the rotational coordinate on which we defined that rotational coordinate. Don't write small qj, okay? Yeah, I know when you write you will not think actually. I think you might have written small qj, isn't it? Wait a second. Now let us get into Pj. Let me write directly. Again, same kind of steps. Again, it takes some time. Dou by dou a Qj of, again same thing, okay? Same step. If I just go through the same step, what you can write here is, so can I write directly this part? If this is like this, corresponding generalized momentum, so same step again, but this part would be different. M r dot this with this you have to substitute, okay? If you substitute again by vector algebra rule, you can write it as n cap dot r cross m r dot. What is this one? Momentum into r cross momentum. What is this one? We haven't got new thing, but I need this idea. Qj is equal to n cap dot torque. Pj is equal to n cap dot L. Wait a second. What is the direction of this angular momentum? Along n. Along n. Is that okay? If Qj is a rotational coordinate, then Pj is angular momentum. Pj is component of angular momentum along the direction perpendicular to the plane on which we define Qj. Is that okay? Perpendicular to the plane on which we define Qj. Is that okay? Again, read out a book, okay, after this class. Now look at here. The most general conservation theorem is if a Qj is equal to 0, then Pj is equal to constant. Am I right? Is that okay? Pj equal to constant. Now I have two different conservation laws. One is for linear coordinate, I mean translational coordinate, other is for rotational coordinate, okay? In case of linear coordinate, if suppose if Qj is translational coordinate, if Qj is translational, is that okay? Conservation theorem is, look at here, conservation theorem is, if a given component of applied force vanishes, then the corresponding linear momentum is conserved. Wait a second. If Qj is translational, what is Pj? What is Pj? N cap dot m into r vector. Am I right? M into r vector dot. That's what we got. Am I right? So now what is Qj? N cap dot f. N cap dot f, isn't it? If Qj is 0, then Pj equal to constant. Can you state in sentence? If component of force along n cap vanishes, then component of momentum along n cap is conserved. That's not a different thing. It's the same thing, isn't it? If n cap dot f is equal to 0, then n cap dot m into r vector dot, that's equal to your pj, that's equal to constant. That becomes a conservation of linear momentum when force along that direction is 0. When it is rotational, you need to take care, because whatever n cap, that is perpendicular to the plane on which you define that rotational coordinate, isn't it? What is this n cap? This n cap is along this translation, isn't it? This n cap is along the translational coordinate. N cap is along translation. So, but if you take pj, look at here, that becomes n cap dot L. So, qj is equal to n cap dot torque. Am I right? So, if a qj is equal to n cap dot n is equal to 0, so then a pj n cap dot L is equal to constant. Wait a second. Now you need to state this one in the sentence. Look at here. If in case of rotational coordinate, if component of torque along any direction vanishes, then component of linear momentum along the component of angular momentum along that direction vanishes. Again, that's again because of Newton's second law only. dl by dt is equal to n. Am I right? Now look at here. When this is constant, when this qj is cyclic, when this is constant, when this qj is cyclic. Now can you write one more sentence in this way, because this is very obvious actually, okay, in this sentence. If a rotational coordinate qj is cyclic, if a rotational coordinate qj is cyclic, work out all of this mathematics again, okay? If a rotational coordinate qj is cyclic, then small qj, okay? If a rotational coordinate qj is cyclic, then qj, comma, then qj, which is a torque along n cap, and you should know what is n cap. What is n cap? N cap is perpendicular to the plane on which we define that rotation, okay? N cap, which is a torque along n cap, which is a component of torque along n cap, or torque along n cap, vanishes. And the component of angular momentum along n cap is conserved or constant of motion. or wait a second, don't write this sentence, vanishes, then if Pj is conserved, okay, that is what is Pj now? What is Pj now? Component of L vector along n cap is conserved. This is in case of rotational. Now let me take one example, because when they design the question, you may not grab what is that angular momentum. Okay, let me take example again. Suppose potential is a function of only r and theta. Let me write in a spherical polar coordinate. We call this one as azimuthal symmetry. If it is independent of phi, we call it one as azimuthal symmetry. So let me write my Lagrangian half m r dot square plus r square theta dot square. So minus v of r comma theta. What? So wait a second. So spherical polar coordinate theta dot square plus r square sine square theta phi dot square. Okay, phi dot square minus v of r comma theta. Am I right? Minus v of r comma theta. Now what is cyclic? What is absent? Phi is cyclic. Am I right? Phi is cyclic. Now look at here. How did you define phi? Do you remember? You defined pi in xy plane. Don't forget this. You defined pi in xy plane and the direction perpendicular to that one is z cap. Okay. Now look at here. Again, you just have to understand the last part of this derivation. You don't need the derivation. Now look at here. P phi, that's equal to dou L by dou phi dot, that's equal to so m r square sine square theta phi dot, that's equal to constant. Why? Phi is cyclic. Cyclic in Lagrangian. That's why this is equal to constant. What do you mean by this one? Now what is P phi? You have to write P phi is equal to z cap dot L vector. That's what I am expecting. Because you defined that phi in xy plane. But don't try to do the same thing for theta, because theta is not defined in one plane. Okay, theta is this one. When you just change this one, you will get different coordinate. But pi is defined in one plane, and you can define this one. And what do you mean by what is the conserved quantity? Lz is conserved in this situation. Yeah, to argue this one, I have done those things. To argue this one, and that is needed. Because if they design the question so that you should know that concept, then they can't give this one, isn't it? They will define one coordinate in one plane, and they will define their own symbols, and they can define the question. Is that okay? That means Lz is conserved. Whenever pi is cyclic, you can say Lz is conserved. Is that okay? Same thing can happen in case of cylindrical coordinate also. Am I right? Whenever pi cylindrical coordinate also, you define pi in one plane, xy plane. Am I right? And Lz will be conserved. Same thing will happen for cylindrical coordinate also. Not much difference. Now let me take one more idea. One more example. Potential is a function of r only, spherically symmetric. Spherically symmetric. Now in this case also, look at here, Lz is conserved. Lz is conserved. Am I right? Spherically symmetric means the same thing again, you don't have pi again in your Lagrangian. Now what I argue here is, there is no predefined z coordinate, z cap coordinate. I can just rotate that one. Am I right? There is no predefined z coordinate. That is our choice, remember. Z coordinate is our choice, z cap is our choice. X, Y, Z are our choice. Now what I do here is, I am going to rotate this one and I am going to realign this one. And I am going to show that angular momentum component, it is conserved in all possible directions. Isn't it? And I can say L vector is conserved. When L vector is constant, isn't it? When you rotate this one, you will get component constant. Am I right? You will get component conserved with respect to time again. Are you getting my point? Again, I'm trying to getting into next chapter, because so then when L vector is conserved, remember, whenever it is spherically symmetric, otherwise look at here, that will not happen, okay? If it depends on theta, that will not happen, okay? Now look at here, Lz is conserved, or how can I argue? Yeah, simply again, my earlier argument, God hasn't decided this XYZ coordinate, isn't it? That's our choice. Again, take, so take it ulta. X here, Z here, Y here. Is that okay? Take it ulta. Again, along that direction, your angular momentum is conserved. Again, take like this. Y here, X here, Z here. Again, along this direction, angular momentum is conserved. So why this is happening? Because total angular momentum is conserved. Because total angular momentum is conserved. That's why you can say whenever we have spherically symmetric potential, so L vector is conserved. L vector is conserved. Is that okay? Now the idea is, if suppose L vector is conserved, then L vector is a constant of motion, and I am going to choose L vector along vertically upward. Is that okay? So if you have angular momentum like this, your motion should be constrained to this plane, which is perpendicular to that one. Am I right? Are you getting my point? If angular momentum is conserved, and I am going to align that angular momentum along one direction, that is constant of motion, that is constant in space, then motion should be restricted to a plane perpendicular to that one, so that if you take one cross product, you will get a direction perpendicular to it. So thereby, your central force problem is usually restricted to a plane. The motion is restricted to a plane. That's because of the fact that angular momentum is a constant of motion. Once it is a constant of motion, your motion should be restricted to a plane. Is that okay? And we are going to move on to plane polar coordinate in case of central force problem. So how we are going to write Lagrangian as half m r dot square plus r square theta dot square minus v of r. We will not write one more coordinate. The argument is just to choose initial axis. So just choose mass m here, theta here, r here, because it is restricted to a plane now, because of the fact that angular momentum is conserved. In case of spherically symmetric potential, you can show torque is equal to 0. Sorry, not rate of change of torque. So total torque is equal to 0. If total torque is equal to 0, dl by dt is equal to 0. That's equal to total torque. That means L is conserved. The argument should be like that, okay? Because from a spheric 3 dimension, you can argue only one thing: Lz is conserved, isn't it? You can argue one thing: Lz is conserved. Now remember, I said I can rotate the coordinate. Why? Because v was a function of only r. If v is a function of theta, you can't rotate. If you rotate, you will get different one. Is that okay? If it is not spherically symmetric, you can't rotate and you can't argue like this, okay? So try to argue this one. In case of spherically symmetric potential, how total angular momentum is conserved. Is that okay? Yeah, so let me argue it like this. X cap, Y cap, Z cap, okay? Sorry. Y cap, Z cap. Now let me align Z cap along this direction. I just proved component along that direction is constant. Now let me align along this direction. I'll prove component along this direction is constant. Let me align along this direction. Let me prove that one. Same thing. Now if I prove 3 perpendicular component of a vector is constant, that vector is constant. Isn't it? If I prove 3 perpendicular component of a vector is constant, and I can resolve that vector into 3 perpendicular components, then that vector is constant. And so when you rotate that one, nothing will happen to this one. That first you have to argue. But in this case, when you rotate this one, something will happen to this one, because that is not symmetry. That's not spherically symmetric one. In case of spherically symmetric one, if you rotate, potential will not be altered. Nothing will happen to that one. That is the meaning of spherical symmetry. No, that's why I'm rotating that one. I mean, so that again, if you take this one as Z cap, this one as X cap, Y cap, is that okay? Now you have to define the same thing. So R here, theta here, R here, you have to define pi. It's very difficult. Theta, you have to define in that coordinate. That's what I'm saying. But you can't rotate and you can't say no, nothing will happen to the potential. You can't say if it is depending on theta actually. That okay? That's why usually that is the proof. That is the argumental proof that in case of spherically symmetric potential, motion is always restricted to a plane. In all of your central force problem, we can take plane polar coordinate. We will start with this one in the next chapter. We start with this one actually. We don't need 3 dimensions actually. Yeah, one more small argument. Wait a second. Yeah, let me give you this one again, okay? Because in some exam, they ask me this kind of question. Let me take Cartesian coordinate, okay? Half m x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square, okay? Usually Cartesian coordinate, this term will not be depending on positions actually. Now let me take v is a function of x and y alone. Then when you move along z axis by keeping x and y constant, nothing is happening to Lagrange. Am I right? No, which is conserved quantity? Pz is conserved because z is cyclic here. Is that okay? When you move along z axis, nothing is changing here. Nothing is changing here. Potential is also not changing when you move along z axis. So similar thing will happen if any one of the coordinate is cyclic. Am I right? Now look at here. Let me take one example. I have infinite plane. Okay, I have infinite plane. So which is charged plus sigma. Infinite plane which is uniformly charged. Okay, and let me define coordinate x cap, y cap, z cap. Now look at here. I argued when v is a function of x and y alone, if you move along z axis, nothing is changing, nothing should happen. Now let me think in ulta, where I can't write potential directly, but I can think logically. Now I have infinite plane, you have given a charge. Suppose if you move along y axis, anything changing? You are keeping charge and you are moving along y axis. It is infinite plane. Infinite plane, so uniformly charged. When you move along x-axis by keeping z constant, nothing is changing because you are seeing that one infinite in your forward as well as backward, in all 3 directions. Suppose if you move along minus y cap, nothing is changing. If you move along x cap, nothing is changing. That's why if you write the potential for such a system, it should be independent of x and y. If potential is independent of x and y, and component of the momentum along x and y should be conserved. Is that okay? Because this is the simplest case. If you put a charge q, what is the force? Force will be along this direction. There will be no component of force along this and this direction. That's why momentum along this and this direction is conserved. That's what I am trying to convey. But in the generalized way. Now if I move along y-axis or x-axis, nothing is happening. Is that okay? Nothing is happening to system. But when you move along z-axis, you are moving away from that one, isn't it? That's why if you write the potential for this system, that will be function of only of z. In this case, only Pz is not conserved. So Px and Py are conserved. Or you can take force into account. If you are thinking about force, you can take force into account. When you move perpendicular to the plane, you are experiencing force. There is a component of force perpendicular to the plane. So we shall solve this problem in electrodynamics. When you have infinite plane, your electric field will be perpendicular to that one. There will be force perpendicular to that plane. There will be no force parallel to the plane actually for infinite plane. So that's why component of the momentum parallel to the plane are conserved. Now along with these two, if I choose this one, any angular momentum is conserved? Think over it. Any angular momentum is conserved?